If you've ever been with a woman and thought, why does this take so long? You are not alone. There's one Reddit comment from a woman that I read recently, and it really stuck with me and lives rent-free in my head. She said, in response to how long does it take you? By myself, within 5 minutes. With him, almost never. And that is because most men don't realize that it's not that women can't orgasm quickly. It's actually that most men don't understand how to create the conditions for women to do that. Did you know that most women struggle to orgasm from vaginal sex alone? Probably not. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I, as a sex coach, researcher, and woman who has slept with women, would do in order to help a woman get to orgasm twice as fast. Not through pressure, not through just techniques or tactics, but through connection, psychology, and understanding how her body and mind actually work. I'm breaking down 6 things that you can do to help her get to orgasm twice as fast tonight. Stuff that you can do even before you get into the bedroom, right down to the moment of the big O. Stick around until the very end for a pretty special bonus tip that most men out there will have no idea about. All right, let's jump right in. Number 1, build anticipation. Here is the first thing I would do. I would start way before we ever got into the bedroom. Most men underestimate how powerful anticipation is for women. If her arousal is like a fire, then anticipation is the oxygen that makes it burn. It means that little things matter a lot. Sending a flirty text, whispering something in her ear before she leaves for work, letting your hand linger on her back when you walk by. These moments tell her body directly you are desired and you have something to look forward to later, because that's when arousal begins. One woman on Reddit wrote, "It's never about what he's doing with his hands. It's about how he makes me feel before he even touches me." By which I mean, it's not the technique, it's the excitement. It's the psychological buildup. If you want to make her orgasm faster, don't start when her clothes start coming off. Start way earlier with curiosity and connection and a little bit of sexual tension in the hours before. Number 2, I would tap into her fantasies. I'd figure out what actually turns her on. And this is one that you also do before you're even in bed with her. And I don't mean what she thinks should turn her on or what you think should turn her on, but her actual fantasies. What situations, dynamics, or sensations turn her on the most? When does she feel most alive and most in her body? The thing for women, and this is true for men too, but especially for women, arousal is largely psychological. Studies show that erotic fantasies light up the same parts of the brain as physical touch. And it's one of the reasons that women sometimes refer back to those sexy thoughts when we are trying to get ourselves off quickly. So when you talk about her fantasy or narrate it back to her in your own words, you're not just dirty talking. You're triggering her arousal pathways directly. And this is important. Don't assume her fantasies look like a porn script. Fantasies are deeply personal. They are unique to the person having them. And sometimes they are less about the activities themselves than the power, safety, emotional intensity, being seen, doing something that's kinky. I mean, her fantasy might not even sound that much like a sexual fantasy to you, but could get her going. And that's why it's very vulnerable for her to talk about these things. Whatever hers may be, it is your job to ask, listen, and then find ways to bring that energy of that fantasy into your shared reality. If you make it safe for her to share, she will go ahead and hand you the cheat code. Number 3, use breath and eye contact. Orgasms are about connection as much as they are about choreography. And if you want to make her orgasm faster, it is important to create that. So use breath and eye contact. They are 2 of the most simple, most primal, and most effective ways to do just that and fast. When you breathe with someone, like really breathe in sync with them, you are also syncing up your nervous systems. But not only that, it's an automatic way to make sure that you are present and in tune with her and her body's reactions. It makes you present too, which helps her become more present, and then you're more present and then she's more present. Cyclical thing there. The same is true with eye contact. So look into each other's eyes during foreplay and during intercourse. It's an incredibly powerful way to get into the moment together. Think about how present you are when you share eye contact with someone. I'm not talking about like staring intensely into their eyes. I'm talking about like holding loose gaze and connection. When you're doing that, there's very little room for actually getting caught up in your head, especially if you're deeply in tune and deeply with that person. And that's what breath and eye contact are all about. They allow her to get out of her head and into the shared present moment with you, and you become fully attuned to her body and its needs. You're more aware of her reactions, and you use them to know whether you should switch up techniques or go faster or slower or harder or softer. You can practically read her mind when you use breath and eye contact. That combo puts you both in the fast lane towards her orgasm. Number 4, bring in her favorite toy. Sometimes you gotta bring in the big guns, and you shouldn't be afraid to do so. Bring in a toy. If she has a vibrator or a favorite clit stimulator, don't see it as competition, but as collaboration. A lot of men get weirdly threatened by this, like they have to outperform this machine, but that's entirely missing the point. When you bring her favorite toy into the experience, you are signaling to her that her pleasure matters more than your ego. And guess what? That alone is a turn on. And sends her the message that her pleasure matters most to you and that you want to put focus on it. But it's not only psychological, it's also physical. Vibrators focus mostly on the clit, which almost all of PIV intercourse doesn't address. And they can bring intensity. Plus, because a toy is likely what she's using when you're not there, it brings a sense of familiarity. The sensations that her body is already primed to orgasm with. I mean, remember our Redditor from the very beginning of this video. With myself, 5 minutes. With him, almost never. Bring in the thing that takes her 5 minutes and then use that when you're with her. Trust me, having her use her vibrator as you enter her or as you have intercourse is one of the most intense and also surefire ways that you can make her come, and fast. And once she does, her body and mind will relax more into the experience, meaning that another orgasm becomes easier. If you haven't watched my video on how to go from 1 to multiple orgasms as a woman, watch that next. Think of it this way. If your goal is to make her orgasm fast, why not bring in a tool that you know already works for her body to do just that? Seems obvious. On to number 5, give praise and positive reinforcement. Here's something that most men don't realize. During sex, women's brains are scanning for approval. Do I look and taste and smell okay? Am I turning him on? Am I doing this right? Is he close to orgasm? Is he not close to orgasm? Now, this doesn't happen for every single woman, and it doesn't happen all the time. It happens enough that it's worth naming, and it's not conscious. That's the interesting thing about it. It's just all of the years of social conditioning that make women self-monitor how we should look and sound and whether our body is doing the thing or taking too long. And this monitoring, ironically, keeps us in our heads and out of our bodies, which is why it takes so long. That thinking is really ultimately the number 1 killer of not just pleasure, but orgasms. You can't really be self-critical and have an orgasm at the same time. And that's why praise helps. When you say things like, "You feel so good," or "I love watching your body respond," it quiets that internal noise and helps her to replace it with confidence. The secret is to keep it specific. Instead of saying, "You're so hot," or repeating the same thing over and over, say something like, "I love the way you tremble when I touch you here. I love how you feel when you tighten around me." Now, this tip won't work equally for all women, and that is because some women find it distracting to speak or to be spoken to during sex. She might hear you say, "I love when you tighten," and think that she needs to tighten for you all the time, and now she's back into her head. Get with your partner and figure out what helps for her, what helps her to get into her body, what helps her to feel more than think, and ultimately what helps to accelerate her towards climax. Which brings me to number 6, aftercare as a bridge to multiples. This is more of a bonus tip, but in case you want to make her orgasm fast after she's already had an orgasm, here is what you are going to do. It is important to remember that many women experience intense sensitivity right after an orgasm. So she may need a sort of cool down period before being able to take more stimulation. But at the same time, once she's had that first release, her body stays in a sort of like orgasmic window where additional climaxes can come faster and easier as long as you keep her in the zone. Again, I have a whole YouTube video on that will help your partner go from 1 to multiple orgasms, no matter how sensitive or overwhelmed she feels. So check that out next. In summary, after she orgasms, don't pull away. Hold her, kiss her, praise her, keep some touch going, and keep her erotic mind going. If she can handle it, then continue to touch her gently or to the degree that she can take it, whether that is all over her body or specifically her vulva or her clitoris. Keep contact continuous. The main thing is to continue your erotic presence and listening. Let her guide you toward when she's ready for more intense stimulation again. When you give a woman solid aftercare, you're not just catching that orgasmic window, you're also signaling to her that it is safe to orgasm with you, which not only primes her for another one right away, it also teaches her body that it's safe to let go with you in the future. You see, it's not just about what you do with your hands or mouth. You have got to start with her mind and then focus on anticipation and fantasy and presence and connection. That is the real secret. It's not about just physically making her orgasm. Any strong enough vibrator can do that. It's about removing any blocks that stop her from being able to do so. These are the 6 things that I would do as a sex coach, researcher, as a woman who has had sex with women to make my partner orgasm twice as fast. If you want to take this even further, not just helping a woman orgasm faster, but becoming the kind of man who women feel safe and drawn to and turned on by, I want to invite you to my free virtual summit on January 17th. It's called From Pressure to Power. It's a half-day deep dive into confidence, connection, and performance, and the psychology of desire. The exact inner work that makes you the kind of man women open up to, melt for, and respond to on a whole different level. If you enjoyed what we covered today, the summit is where we will go 10 layers deeper, and it's completely free. So reserve your ticket today at the link below, and I will see you there on January 17th. I'm Caitlin B. Thank you for watching. I'll see you here next time. Bye.